Hey all, welcome to ShareTreck. This is Raj here. Friends, yesterday I brought out a video where I was doing comparison for NTLA with CRISPR. I also spoke about what NTLA is planning from a strategic perspective for 2024, their major milestones, the whole thing that they spoke at JPM2024. I have done a similar thing for Editas Medicine today, and this is the video. And in this video, I'm extending the spreadsheet a little further. Apart from telling you about what Editas plans for 2024, I'm also going to compare some key parameters. In the same spreadsheet, I have added one more parameter, which is price to sales, which is our traditional way of looking at companies that do not have a revenue and comparing them. So I now have CRISPR and NTLA in the spreadsheet already. I have added Editas, and I've done cross comparison to find out which one is valued better. And as I keep on adding more and more companies into this spreadsheet, we'll start getting an idea of how the market is valuing these companies. Is there a logic behind it, or is it just at a whim? So the picture is emerging, so keep on watching this series. So let's get started today with Editas Medicine. Welcome back, friends. Editas Medicine is planning to maintain a focused strategy for 2024. Their key strategic priorities consist of a steadfast commitment to advancing Reni-cel towards biologics licensing application, or BLA, and commercialization. Reni-cel is their equivalent of what we have for Casgevy. So it's going to be targeting sickle cell disease and beta thalassemia. They also plan the expansion of in vivo pipeline with a focus on preclinical proof of concept for undisclosed indication, which is there in their pipelines. And apart from that, they're also talking about increased emphasis on business development activities, including the continued sub-licensing of foundational Cas9 and Cas12a gene editing technology. And they are planning to derive revenue from foundational intellectual property, which basically is a shorthand for CRISPR-Cas9, with a particular focus on licensing agreement. This includes ongoing sub-licensing of the company's foundational Cas9 and 12a gene editing technology. And I think their plans got a shot in the arm when Vertex decided to buy CRISPR-Cas9 license from them at the advent of Casgevy. So it's all looking good so far. And here are the anticipated 2024 milestones as per their disclosure at JP Morgan conference. They are talking about Reni-cel clinical trial, which has a bunch of milestones. Those milestones consist of, number one, continuing enrollment and dosing in the Ruby and Editas clinical trials. Number two, initiating the adolescent cohort in the Ruby trial so that they can get the pediatric approval. And number three, presenting a substantive clinical data set of sickle cell disease patients with significant clinical follow-up in the Ruby trial in the middle of this year, and also by the end of this year. So we are looking at two catalysts. The previous, I'm going to talk to you about the previous results as well towards the end of the video, which was very encouraging. So let us park that for the meantime, and let us go ahead with their other objectives. Their other key objectives for 2024 are establishing in vivo preclinical proof of concept for an undisclosed indication. And we will get to know about that in 2024. That's why it is out here. So that will again be a catalyst for the stock whenever it happens. And then deriving revenue from CRISPR-Cas9, which is their main focus. And this includes leveraging license agreement with Vertex Pharmaceuticals and VorBio, VOR. So those are the two companies. Next, let us look at financial highlights and the general outlook for the company. So the company says that it remains dedicated to developing transformative experimental medicines and driving solutions for severe, previously untreatable diseases. The lead candidate is EDIT-301 for sickle cell disease and beta thalassemia. Editas released safety data in December 2023, that was last year. And if I'm not mistaken, I definitely did cover that in the channel, but I'm going to cover it once again because we have given a big hiatus when it comes to covering companies other than CRISPR and Bluebird in the channel. So keeping with that, I would say that the data was promising, as Editas disclosed that all Ruby trial patients with more than 5 months follow-up have achieved a normal hemoglobin level and a fetal hemoglobin level of greater than 40%, which means that they won't have VOEs. and all patients treated in the Ruby trial are free of VOE post-edit 301 infusion. So that's a very positive outcome. However, it was a small number of patients and it was early in the day. We need to look at 1 year data or 2 year data. And they said that EDIT 301 was well tolerated and demonstrated a safety profile consistent with myeloablative conditioning with busulfan and autologous hematopoietic stem cell transplantation. Basically, it's a shorthand to say that if you have a bone marrow cleansing and putting hematopoietic stem cells back into it for grafting, whatever is the success rate in that, it was similar for EDIT 301, which is the sickle cell and TDT treatment from Editas. Now, EDIT 301 is going to be known as Renicel going forward. That was the name I was searching for in my mind. So Renicel is the actual brand name for this product. And in terms of finance, Editas seems to have tightened cost control in Q3 with significant decrease in general and administrative expenses and some decline in R&D expenses. R&D expenses decline is not major, which is a good thing for a company like this. It declined very slightly, I would say. But G&A expenses were very much under control. So that's a very positive sign. We have to see what happens with the Q4 results, and that will give us whether the trend continued or it was a one-off. As per Editas, their cash and cash equivalents and marketable securities as of September 30, 2023 were $446.4 million compared to $480 million as of June 30, 2023. And according to Editas, they have a cash runway that goes well into 2025. Now, I don't know if they have counted the revenue that they got from Vertex into these projections, but I would assume that they would not have done that because that happened after the Q3 closing. So that said, yesterday I made a video about Intellia and showed you a spreadsheet to compare valuation with CRISPR. Today I provide you the same spreadsheet so that you can judge for yourself if there is a rationale in the market for valuation of various genomic companies. Remember, Editas is going to have CRISPR-Cas9 license revenue going forward, while Intellia will not. Also remember that CRISPR is already getting CRISPR-Cas9 revenues, and Editas will also be getting CRISPR-Cas9 revenues. With that in mind, let me show you the spreadsheet and explain to you what I found. Well, here we are in my spreadsheet. I included an extra bit of information that was not there yesterday. I have added sales figures for Intellia, which was not there yesterday. And I have created an additional column where I'm comparing Intellia with Editas. Yesterday we had CRISPR and Editas comparison. CRISPR and Intellia comparison. Only that's all we had. But now we have got extra information out here. And I have come to a conclusion about which is best priced and which is worst priced. And I'm going to explain that to you. Every cell which is marked green is a positive attribute in comparison to the other company. And every cell that is not marked green in the same category is something that is not favorable. So if you look at total cash in the balance sheet, 1.74 billion for CRISPR is way better than 854 in the balance sheet for Intellia. Now, I think I would also like to add cash runway when I produce this spreadsheet for you again in the future, so you can have one extra parameter to compare. When it comes to companies like these genomic companies which do not have a revenue stream yet, price to sales is what is generally used for comparing. So I've added that here at the bottom. And over and above that, what I have done is I've created my own parameters to see how much you're paying to acquire the cash per share which is present in the company, and I'm using that for comparison. I'm also looking at how much you're paying to acquire the book value per share of the company. So I've taken the data from Yahoo, and you already seen CRISPR and Intellia comparison yesterday. And right now I have added the price to sales also. If you look at the price to sales for Intellia, it is 44.97. I've taken the number directly from Yahoo. So it's up to date. And we can see that Intellia is overpriced when compared to CRISPR Therapeutics. And when we look at CRISPR and Editas comparison, we can see that Editas is much cheaper than CRISPR Therapeutics. And remember that they are also going to get the CRISPR-Cas9 revenue, just like CRISPR Therapeutics does. But the only difference is that CRISPR Therapeutics will soon start getting revenue from Casgevy, whereas Editas has to wait for a few years before it can start getting revenue from its Reni-cel therapy. Now, if you look at the comparison between NTLA and Editas, NTLA has got core revenue coming in from licensing of CRISPR-Cas9 and also Cas12a. So I think Editas is lower priced as compared to NTLA because you have to pay only 1.889 price for the book value to purchase $1 of the book value, and you have to pay only 1.94 for the purchase of a unit of the cash price. So I think it's much better, and also from a price to sales perspective, I think Editas does way better than NTLA. So that's my conclusion. And of course, guys, I'm not a fundamental analyst. This is not a strong suite of mine. I'm more into technical analysis. But I've started taking more interest in fundamental analysis. If any of you find any fault with this, please put it in the comment and I can take it from there. So for future, I'm going to add one more column here, one more data element out here, which is going to be cash runway. And in that, I'm going to put the year up to which it's going to run, either H 2025 or H 2026 or 2026. I'll put those numbers there. That will also help you to do the valuation. So this is what I have for Editas. Well, here we are in the TradingView platform. We are looking at Editas. Each of these candle is a one-day candle. And as you can see that we had gone up at one point of time. Around this time, I think all the boost would have come partly because of market sentiment. Everything in the market was going up at that time. And another reason also is the fact that they came up with good data from the Editas trials. And also there was this news about Vertex buying CRISPR-Cas9 licenses from Editas. So there was a bit of a jump. And since then, the enthusiasm seems to have died off. And there was a little bit of recovery in the last 2 or 3 days, but we have still fallen back into the resistance of 8.38. And now that's going to be a problem for us to get out of. But we also have a little bit of a gap down out here, which I might hope may provide impetus to go up. 9-day exponential moving average is becoming a resistance for us, and we see a lot of death cross out here, which is short-term exponential moving average crossing over long-term exponential moving average. So the chart is looking very bearish. And also you can see that the momentum is again dropping off after bouncing off 30%. It's dropping back again. So it's not looking great at this point of time. So those are the observations I have for Editas. And from my personal perspective, I don't think I'll be buying Editas. I have a very small portion of my portfolio for genomics. And now I have to allocate a small portion of my portfolio for AI. So those two are going to be my speculative assets as compared to the tried and trusted FANG stocks. And fortunately for me, some of the FANG stocks are also playing on the AI and cloud area. So that's going to be good for me. So that's what I'm planning to do. So I won't be buying Editas, not because it's not a good company, it's because I don't have room in my portfolio. So with that, my friends, I'd like to bring this video to an end. Please do put your comments and I'll be happy to hear from you. Thanks and have a great day. Bye for now.